You're also an engaged man, correct?
That is correct. Yeah.
Woo!
We almost didn't make it back from Australia because of the lockdown.
Hey, what's up, guys? Nick Major here with idobi Radio, about to hop on a video call with my friend Tyler Young. You know him from Makeout. He has a new project with CrankThatFrank called VantaVoid. I want to chat about these, what his 2020 has been like, because I know that's when they were expecting to relaunch Makeout, and things didn't go as planned. So we're going to talk about all this and more. Stick around. Stay tuned. Gonna be November before we know it, and it's turned out to be quite the year. I know that for you, this was finally kind of well, you guys were hoping to have the official kind of reinvention of Makeout finally hit the road and stuff, and that didn't go as planned. So catch me up with what your 2020 has been like, dude.
Dude, it's been a mess. We were like, we had all these plans ready to go. Like we were going to put out, we put out our song eventually, but we were going to put out Home before we left for tour. We were supposed to leave for tour like the last week of March, and we were going to be on tour for like 5 or 6 weeks around the US, something like that. And that was going to be our first like comeback with the new lineup. And so, we were all really looking forward to it. And then, we, everything got canceled.
Yeah.
So yeah, that kind of put us in a weird position where we're like, well, we were getting ready to release the song. So we were like, well, maybe we shouldn't, maybe we should just wait and see what happens. We were kind of being optimistic and hoping that, maybe we'd start touring in the fall. But we're pretty far into the fall now at this point. And, I'm not expecting to go on tour anytime soon. Like maybe this time next year if we're lucky.
Mm-hmm. No, and this is the industry that's going to be opening up very last, unfortunately, which just sucks. And yeah, and
Yep.
at this point, I have now known you for over 5 years because we met in January of 2015 when I was with AP. You guys were doing the Battle of the Bands with Devil Wears Prada, and that's where you guys kicked off your relationship as trophy wives, might I add.
Yep.
With Feldy, and then that's where just everything kind of happened. And I've never really talked to you about what happened in 2019 with you guys, which was Sam stepped away from the project back in January. Then you guys pulled in Kyle on vocals. How did that whole thing come to be? What was the process? Because I know you guys had been posting tryouts for people, and then you guys ended up finding this new lineup.
Yeah, like you said, Sam decided to leave early 2019. So we had done a tour with Cube's What We Aim For in the fall of 2018. And that's when Sam kind of let us know that he had no interest in doing this anymore. And so we had one last it was like 10 days or something where we were just headlining around some of our our good markets. And he was like, yeah, we have that booked. We've announced it. I'll do that. And then that's it for me. So, after Sam quit, Scott and I were kind of in the position. We were like, well, what now? And so we kind of sat on it for a little bit. And funny enough, we ended up with AJ on bass before we found a vocalist. So AJ had, I spent a lot of time hanging out with AJ on Warped in 2018 because Sleep On It was on there for the second half of it. We were on the whole thing. And so I spent a lot of time with AJ, and then, he knew that we were looking for a bassist because we had just a fill-in at the time. So he kind of hit me up. I think it was like March, something like that. And he was like, hey, what do you guys, like, what's your plans? You guys need a bassist. He was already like, he was already on his way out of Sleep On It. And so he just kind of fell into our lap. And then so we had AJ on board, and then we were kind of like, well, we have a full lineup minus a singer, so maybe we should just try to find a singer and let's see what happens. So we posted, we had open tryouts online, and we had a bunch of people. We had like 500 submissions or something like that to try to be the singer. And one of the things that really stood out for us with Kyle was that he chose to do our song Childish, which is probably the hardest song to sing on our entire record.
Last time I heard about you, you were smoking weed and taking off your clothes, thought I knew you.
So the fact that he like picked the hardest song and just like went for it and nailed it, we were all kind of like, all right, cool. And then it turns out he's from the Chicago area, like AJ as well.
AJ, yep.
And while they didn't know each other, we knew people that knew Kyle, because when you grow up in an area and play in bands, like everybody kind of gets to know each other. So, through friends of friends, we were kind of like scoping Kyle out, and we're kind of like asking around, like, hey, what's this kid's deal? And then, I went out to visit, and the rest is history. It was just a really good fit. He's a great singer. He rips on guitar too, and we couldn't have asked for anybody better to fill Sam's shoes.
And you guys dropped Home back in July, so it's been a couple months.
I wanted to be held, I wanted to be yours. I wound up feeling broken and lying on the floor. I wanted to feel home. I wanted to feel home.
Did you guys work with Jaden and Travis Barker on that song? Is that correct?
That is correct.
Jaden from With Confidence, to clarify.
So how that one happened was all the guys were out here in LA. I think it was like October, like a year ago. And we were doing just some photo shoots and stuff just to get like everything ready. And we had run into Jaden. I think we went out with Fish, and like Jaden showed up, and a few other people were there. And Jaden had mentioned, he's like, hey, if you want to do like a co-write or something, like, let's do it. And so the day that Kyle was supposed to leave, Jaden was like, hey, I have some free time today if you want to do it. And we were like, yeah, sure. So like we went over to his house in the morning. I think we were there for like 4 hours before Kyle had to take off to get on an airplane. So we really crunched. It was like crunch time. But we wrote, I would say 80% of the song that day. And then, we kind of tweaked it, and then did the finishing touches at Travis Barker's studio, with Travis. And
No big deal.
He made a bunch of changes. Yeah, no big deal. He made a bunch of changes to it and stuff. And that's what you got today.
That's awesome. And have you guys done any other stuff? I know everyone's got to be eager, you guys especially, for a new album, because it's just been, I cannot believe it has been 3 years since The Good Life came out, which is absolutely insane.
Me either, man. It flew by. Like, I just made that post, what was the end of September, a couple weeks ago, that it was 3 years old. And I was like, man. And we had recorded that over a year before we had even put it out. So it was like 4 and change years ago that we were in the studio recording that album. So it's been a long time.
So have you guys started doing other than Home? So are you guys working on other stuff? Is there a full length, an EP? What's happening?
Yeah. We have an EP that's ready to go. It's kind of just trying to figure out the best time to do it. Cause like the Home release went well. And I know people were really itching for some new stuff from us. So we wanted to put that out. But had the original plans worked out where we put the song out and then went on tour, I think the release would have gone so much better. Just because it's hard to promote things like that, especially when you've been like kind of on the sidelines for a little bit. And like, it was kind of our comeback. So, I think it would have done much better if we had like a tour to go along with it. So we do have an EP. It's done. Travis, we did other songs with Travis Barker on that EP as well. So what you heard from Home is kind of what you can expect from, actually, there's a couple surprises, but it's along the same lines as Home for the rest of it.
Good. I feel so bad for you guys that 2019 year, you guys probably thought that was the downtime. Obviously, You're like, all right, this is the time. We're taking all this time off. We're reinventing some stuff. We're breathing new life into it. And then 2020 hit, and they got you good. But
dude, it couldn't have been a worse time.
No, I know, but you got to stay positive, and you got to roll with the punches. One thing I'm taking this back to Trophy Wives to then bring it up to your new project, because with Trophy Wives, you guys, before you became Makeout, definitely had a heavier sound to your guitars at times, to the music, to the vocals in general.
There's not a law we can't break through. Let's just try and stay true. Don't try and stop us.
So I'm guessing this has always been part of your musical side, the heavier stuff. And VantaVoid is what you have been doing as well with Frank, a.k.a. CrankThatFrank. How did this project come to be? Because you dropped your song Outcast, which really brought me back to my obsessive metalcore days, like listening to like Miss May I and stuff. So how did this project come about?
Frank and I kind of like connected because he will do like reaction videos. So he'll ask his fans and be like, hey, what are some bands I may not have heard of that I can like check out? And so he did a video that, he checked out Makeout, and that's kind of how like I connected with him. And then it was like the summer, or maybe like the spring last year. I think it was that. I think it was spring last year. I had just tweeted. I was like, I'm itching to write some heavier stuff. So like I might write some heavy songs. And then Frank shot me a DM and he was like, "Hey, if you write a metal song, I'll do some vocals over it." And I was like, "Cool." And so we did a song. We put it out under Frank's name originally. That came out last July, and that it ranked #1 on the iTunes metal charts, which came out of like left field. We had no idea that it was going to happen like that. And we're approaching like 700,000 streams on that song now. Awesome. At this point. So it went way better than we could have expected. So, when we saw like the reaction to it, we were like, all right, well, that went really well. Let's keep this thing going and let's have some fun with it. So that's kind of where VantaVoid came to be.
And by the way, I got to say, I learned a new meaning of a word today thanks to your Twitter. I remember back when I was growing up, pogs were these little cardboard things that people collected. And apparently today, I just wanted to clarify because I was confused as well. It means a word used to indicate excitement or an epic moment. And this was in regards to, you said that you're working on a new VantaVoid track. So you said it was pretty heavy and a circle pit worthy song. So you guys are still working on some stuff with that as well.
Yeah. We have, we put 2 songs out so far. We have 3 other ones that are like done and ready to release. I think we're probably going to put the next one out in January because we're waiting for a couple things to line up. But since those, we wrapped those up probably about a year ago. So I've just been working on new stuff since. And I think I have about 11 songs done for VantaVoid and another 6 or 7 that are like various states of whether it's just like a riff or like a verse and chorus. I've got a whole bunch of ideas for it. So I've been busy.
Mm-hmm. How's it feel to be back doing just some good heavy stuff? I'm sure that's a change of pace.
Dude, it feels good. Like for me, it's just like, I'm just having fun doing it. And that's why I like to do it. Cause I grew up, when I was 16 years old, like the Devil Wears Prada and like Chiodos and From First to Last.
Oh
and,
yeah.
Like,
all those are my favorites.
A Day to Remember was starting to come out. Like all that stuff is what I grew up on. And back when I was like an angsty teenager, like that was the only thing that you could convince me to listen to is something that was like heavy and loud. Where nowadays, I'll listen to pop and hip. I listen to it all now, but back then that was all I listened to, and those were the bands I grew up playing in. So it feels really cool to like just kind of revisit.
Oh, then that's dope since you were such a Prada fan. Like I was too. They're one of my favorite bands of all time, Devil Wears Prada.
Yeah.
And then that's sick that when we met, it was Devil Wears Prada headlining that Battle of the Bands thing. So that was probably really awesome for you too.
Yeah. Well, it was kind of funny because it was like, on that Battle of the Bands thing, we were kind of like the heaviest band that was there in the finals.
Uh-huh.
And so to have Devil Wears Prada headline
close that out
it was kind of funny.
No, but that was awesome, and that was really what got you guys your start. Now you live in because you live in LA, so that brought you out this way. I imagine at the end of the day, and now you're also an engaged man, correct?
That is correct. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks. I proposed to my girlfriend. We went to Australia, so. We almost didn't make it back from Australia because of the lockdown. But so we went to Australia because my dad and my stepmom live there. So we went to visit, and I proposed to her on the last day that we were there. And we flew back, and then we got in on Monday, and then that Friday, all the lockdowns happened. So if our trip had been like a week later, we would have been stuck in Australia.
Is your dad are they from Australia?
So my stepmom is.
Oh.
My dad married an Australian.
Oh, because my dad is from Australia, so I have dual citizenship. So I've always grown up going down to Australia and stuff, which is an awesome place. I like it.
It is really cool. Yeah, they live in Newcastle, which is like 2 hours north of Sydney.
Yeah, I know where Newcastle is. So what else you got planned for this year? Do you really know? It sounds like you're keeping busy with just kind of strutting along, writing music as it comes. Is nothing set in stone, obviously?
So I've really just been trying to keep myself busy. I would say the good thing that's come out of quarantine is that my recordings now are sounding a lot less like demos and sounding a lot more like full songs, which is really cool.
Awesome.
I feel like I've come a long way as far as recording stuff goes. And so, maybe I'll start working with some other bands and stuff in the future because that's always something I've been interested in as well. But I'm just starting to get to that point where I'm feeling really comfortable with, my working my way around recording software and stuff like that. So, but yeah, besides that, it's just been writing shitloads of demos, both for VantaVoid and for Makeout. I'm kind of trying to wrap up like a full length for VantaVoid, and I'll probably shift gears and start writing for Makeout again. Cause we have the EP done. So that's going to be the next thing to come out. So then I was trying to crank out CrankThatFrank. I was trying to crank out trying to crank out an album for VantaVoid. And so I'm almost done with that. So I'll probably shift gears and start working on some more Makeout stuff soon.
That's good. And I think you guys, VantaVoid, you have a Patreon now that people can keep up with.
Yeah. We got, the Patreon's cool because we're doing all sorts of like behind the scenes stuff. I've got some if you want to like learn how to play some of the riffs for some of the songs and stuff, I've got some videos up there. So yeah, if you're interested in like, learning some of our stuff or just learning what goes on behind the scenes, definitely check out our Patreon. We just launched it, I think a week ago. So,
well, dude, stay healthy, stay busy. Sorry that 2020 has not shaped up how you thought, but
that's life.
Yeah, we'll have to link up sometime, take the dogs for a walk or something, and just
that sounds good.
Hang out. But thanks for chatting again, and stay healthy, my dude.
Yeah, you too.
All right,
take it easy, Nick.
This is where I feel bad, where I just hang up on you. So take it easy, and I'll talk to you soon later. All right, everybody, Tyler Young. Obviously, you know him from Makeout, his new project VantaVoid with CrankThatFrank. Hope you guys enjoyed the chat. Be sure to check out the new tracks that he has been putting out. I'm once again Nick Major with idobi Radio. Be sure to check out the Nick Major Show every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. Follow me at Nick_Major on Twitter and Instagram, Nick.Major on TikTok. Keep your hands clean, keep your mouth covered, subscribe to idobi Radio. See you next time.